Every single one of us has likely experienced some type of burn on our skin. But luckily, most of us have just burned small areas that included the surface or top 2 layers of the skin. But how deep can a burn actually go? Well, depending on the amount of heat and time of exposure, a burn can destroy tissue layer by tissue layer by tissue layer and go all the way down to muscle and even bone. And these are horrific injuries. So in today's video, with the help of the cadavers here in the lab, we're gonna go layer by layer through the body to show you exactly what happens with different degrees of burns and just how deep the damage can actually go. It's going to be a burning one. So let's get into this anatomical hotness. You are looking at a dissection of the lower leg, but this leg was actually cut in the mid-thigh, and so you can clearly see how awesome this cross-section is up top. And while we're up here, we might as well cover some awesome anatomy. You can see we've got the femur right here, and FYI, your long bones are hollow. Here's where the quads would be, down here, hamstrings. But then we also have this meat in the medial aspect of the thigh. This is often referred to as your adductor group, and then you can also see some of this femoral vasculature. But we're gonna spend most of our time down in the lower leg. This is what we refer to as a step dissection because we can step down layer by layer by layer. So it's a great dissection to show you how your limbs are wrapped together, as well as helps us to understand the different categories of burns. Now, when it comes to classifying burns, there are a few different systems. Some systems will describe burns as superficial, partial thickness, or full thickness, while others will use first, second, third, and even 4th degree burns. For this video, we're going to use the second system, as that is the system that most people are familiar with, and it lines up really well with what we're looking at this cadaver dissection. But no matter what system you use, they share the same overall theme. The deeper the burn goes, the more structures it destroys. So let's start at the surface with first degree burns. A first degree burn is only going to affect the most superficial layer of the skin, called the epidermis. And that's what you're seeing right here on the step dissection. But on this other skin dissection, you can see that it's this paper-thin layer resting on top of the dermis. And we'll talk about the dermis in just a second. But the epidermis has multiple functions. Some of those are to protect you from friction and abrasion, it keeps pathogens out, and it even waterproofs your skin. It's also constantly regenerating itself by producing new cells daily, with the old cells constantly flaking off and contributing to the dust of your house. But something that is interesting about the epidermis is that it is avascular, meaning that it doesn't have blood vessels running through it. Instead, it's going to get its blood supply from the dermis. And that's actually going to play an important role because when you get a first degree burn, it's going to be red. The redness you see is actually coming from the blood vessels in the dermis underneath, responding to that damage with vasodilation. Now, on top of the redness, you'll also often see dryness and peeling of the skin that was burned. And that is due to the fact that you killed more of those cells with the burn. But structurally, the deeper layers are still intact. And because the epidermis is constantly regenerating, these burns typically heal well and don't scar. Now, second degree burns are a bit of a different story. And that's because inside of the dermis, which is this second thicker layer that you can see here, you're going to find a lot of interesting structures such as blood vessels, nerve endings, sweat glands, hair follicles, and even tiny little muscles that move hair follicles, causing goosebumps. It's a very busy area. And so now instead of just damaging the protective cells that make up the epidermis, you're damaging multiple deeper structures. And this is why second degree burns are more painful due to the nerve endings involved. They are also associated with fluid leakage and blistering. And because of that deeper damage, these burns can lead to scarring depending on severity. But with third degree burns, things can start to get messy real quick. If we come back to this step dissection, you can see this yellow band of tissue. And this third layer down that is deep to the epidermis and dermis is called the hypodermis, or the subcutaneous layer. And it's primarily made out of adipose tissue or fat. So its thickness can vary quite a bit, but it also contains even larger blood vessels and some fibrous connective tissue. So if the burn has made it down to this third layer, it's probably not going to shock you that this is why it's referred to as a third degree burn. And this is a very severe type of burn because you've burned through the epidermis, the dermis, and many of the structures inside of the dermis, such as the sweat glands, blood vessels, hair follicles, and nerve endings, which leads to something that may seem counterintuitive. These burns can actually be less painful in the center of the burn than second degree burns, because the nerves that would normally send pain signals have been destroyed. So there's nothing there to send the painful signal to your brain. Now, that doesn't make third-degree burns less severe. In fact, it's much more serious because now you have large areas of dead tissue, increased risk of infection, loss of the skin's protective barrier, and you may also have something called an eschar, which is a thick, dry, leathery layer of dead tissue. And at this point, medical treatment is absolutely necessary. And because the body can no longer effectively regenerate that lost tissue on its own, treatment may involve skin grafting, which is where healthy skin is taken from another part of the body and placed over the damaged areas to help restore that protective barrier. And depending on how deep the burn is, this can involve taking just parts of the dermis or the full thickness of the skin. Because at this point, the body is left trying to heal a wound that it simply doesn't have the structure to fully rebuild on its own. But if that wasn't bad enough, it gets worse, because now we're going to the 4th degree. So if we come back to this step dissection, again we have the hypodermis here, but underneath the hypodermis we have our next layer, and this is called fascia. Fascia is a dense connective tissue that wraps and compartmentalizes skeletal muscles, which you can see some of those skeletal muscles just deep to the fascia. So if the burn goes past the hypodermis and now has made it down into the fascia, it's referred to as a 4th degree burn. But it doesn't just stop there. A 4th degree burn can also go deeper. It can include burning of the skeletal muscles. It can affect the periosteum, which is this dense connective tissue that wraps bone. It can also affect the bone itself, as well as tendons and ligaments. And this is a horrific type of an injury because, as you can probably tell, skin grafts alone aren't able to replace destroyed fascia, skeletal muscle tissue, tendons, or ligaments. So often skin grafts are not feasible for these types of burns. And so in severe cases, amputation may be required if we're talking about a burned limb. Infection is also a huge concern. And to say this is life-threatening would be putting it lightly, especially if we are talking about 4th degree burns of the torso. So now let's quickly talk about the different causes of burns. Often you'll hear that there are 4 primary causes of burns: thermal, chemical, electrical, and radiation burns. But depending on who you talk to, sometimes those causes can get further subdivided. So we're going to group some additional causes of burns into an other category. The most common is thermal, which involves heat, things like fire, hot surfaces, and scalding liquid. Now, some will loosely include extreme cold injuries as thermal burns, but those cold injuries are more accurately classified as frostbite, which obviously involves tissue damage from freezing rather than heat. And so those cold injuries would fall into our other causes of burn category, which would also include things like friction burns where mechanical abrasion and heat combine, such as skidding across the carpet. Chemical burns are from substances like strong acids or bases. Some people work with these chemicals as part of their job, but they can also happen with certain household cleaners and aesthetics products. Electrical burns can be particularly dangerous because the damage may extend deeper beneath the surface. Electrical current can pass through the body and affect internal organs, and can even impact the electrical system of the heart, leading to arrhythmias and even cardiac arrest in severe cases. Radiation burns are most commonly from UV radiation, which would lead to a sunburn. But radiation burns can also happen due to radiation therapies, which are sometimes used in cancer treatment where the radiation can literally burn the skin. It is also possible for this to happen from X-rays and other forms of ionizing radiation used in medical imaging, but typically only with high doses or prolonged exposure, making this very uncommon in routine imaging. But regardless of the cause, this will ultimately come back to what we have learned throughout the video, and that is the damage ultimately depends on how deep the injury goes. I'm assuming that most of you watching our content are a little nerdy and love to learn. I'm the same way, but I'm a little heavy in the biological sciences, so I love to challenge myself in other subjects, and that is why I use Brilliant. Brilliant helps you excel in math, coding, data analysis, science, and even AI. Their courses are crafted by an award-winning team from places like MIT and Caltech, and are designed for ages 10 to 110, if you are lucky enough to live that long. But this means Brilliant starts you at the right level based on your background, with practice sets and end-of-level reviews personalized just for you. I've personally been using Brilliant to sharpen my math skills and have been using their lessons on exponential functions, and have been loving how Brilliant helps you excel through visual, interactive problem solving, and personalized practice that builds genuine understanding. Now, another reason I think Brilliant is beneficial for our audience is that many of our viewers are looking to go into the medical field. And going into the medical field requires more than just biological knowledge. You'll have to take math, statistics, and review research. And so Brilliant's got you covered with lessons that build the foundation for the math and data analysis that you'll need. Plus, since most users learn on their phones, it's seamless to jump on at any time. So if you want to learn for free on Brilliant for a full 30 days, go to brilliant.org/IHA, scan the QR code on screen, or click the link in the description. Brilliant is also giving our viewers 20% off an annual premium subscription, which gives you unlimited daily access to everything on Brilliant. Thanks again to Brilliant for sponsoring today's video, and thank you to all of you for watching and supporting our channel, and we'll see you in the next video.